I bet I know the narrative. You've read it your whole life. You have been living in a house where the volume is locked at maximum, while everyone else insists the room is silent. You have been told that you are too emotional. You have been convinced that you are too soft. You have been convinced that you need to build a concrete wall around your heart. You have heard it 1,000 times. Why do you let it get to you? You have probably spent decades feeling guilty for your exhaustion. But I am here right now to tell you, the label you have been wearing is incorrect. You are not broken. You are not fragile. And you are definitely not a glitch. You are what researchers call a person with high sensory processing sensitivity. But let's use a better description. You are a high bandwidth processor. While the rest of the world captures life as a compressed JPEG image, your brain captures the massive, uncompressed raw file. And today, we are going to look at the neurology. It proves your intensity is not a disorder. It is a sophisticated data gathering system that society desperately needs to comprehend. You know, actually, looking at the facts, it's not just a system, it's a necessity. To understand yourself, we have to look at your operating system. This isn't just an attitude problem, it is physiology. Studies confirm that your nervous system handles input differently than the other 80% of people. Think of the human brain like a digital photographer. Most people's brains take snapshots, standard JPEGs. It is a decent image. It is small. It uploads fast and doesn't crash the hard drive. But your brain? Your brain is capturing life strictly in raw format. Neuroscience has pinpointed 3 distinct modifications in your circuitry. They explain why everything feels so heavy. First, your brain has a wide-open gate. Neurologists refer to this as a lack of sensory gating. Most brains are wired to filter out 90% of incoming stimuli. They conserve battery. They label background sounds as safe and delete them. But your brain is a lighthouse trying to illuminate every single wave in the ocean at once. You process the scratch of the wool sweater, the flickering light bulb, the tone of the barista's voice. You process it all simultaneously. This is why you crash. But it is also why you perceive the nuance, the art, and the hidden dangers that everyone else walks right past. Second, your empathy centers are on steroids. This involves a part of the brain called the insula. This is where we process inner feelings. But for you, you are a sponge dropped into a sea of other people's moods, soaking up their salt until you are heavy with it. You don't just logically know someone is hurting. You map their pain onto your own nervous system. You aren't being dramatic. Your biology is literally mirroring their physiology. You are a delicate tuning fork, standing in a room full of banging drums. And third, this leads to the most frustrating part of your operating system: elaborative encoding. Psychologists call this deep semantic processing. When someone asks you a question, or you have to make a choice, you might feel like you are lagging behind. You might criticize yourself for freezing up. But look at the science. You aren't stalled. You are cross-referencing. While others do linear processing, reacting A to B, your brain is building a spider web. You are unconsciously linking this moment to 10 years ago. You are projecting 5 years forward. You are analyzing the subtext. While others take the straight highway, you are navigating 1,000 intersecting alleyways just to find the single perfect destination. You aren't hesitating because you are empty. You are hesitating because your brain is running a massive algorithm to find the optimal path. That is not a defect. That is supercomputing. Now you might be wondering, if this makes life so exhausting, why didn't natural selection breed it out? This is the crucial piece. If high sensitivity was a liability, evolution would have discarded it in the Stone Age. But it didn't. It protected it. Why? Because the herd needs you. In the ancient world, the soldiers, the less sensitive majority, were necessary for the hunt and the battle. They were reactive. They were tough. But a tribe of only soldiers would go extinct. They would march into the ambush without seeing the signs. The tribe needed sentries. That is you. You are the one who smelled the smoke long before the fire was visible. You are the one who sensed the predator in the grass. Your anxiety is actually a prehistoric survival mechanism. But modern life is loud. It is chaotic. It is unrelenting. It is designed for the soldiers. That is why you feel wrong. But do not confuse being mismatched with being broken. I know that running this high bandwidth system comes with attacks. Because you download so much data, your battery drains faster. When you hit a wall, you aren't being antisocial. You are a high-speed engine that has overheated and simply needs the hood popped to let the steam out. But science offers a profound framework for this. Most people are like dandelions. They are robust. They can thrive in a crack in the pavement or a meadow. They are stable regardless of the climate. But you are an orchid. If you try to bloom in harsh, loud, or neglectful soil, you will fail. You will wither faster than the dandelion. And for years, you have probably hated yourself. You have hated yourself for not being a weed that can grow anywhere. But the theory of vantage sensitivity reveals the other side. When an orchid is placed in a greenhouse with the right humidity, the right quiet, and the right nutrition, it doesn't just survive. It flourishes with a vibrancy and potential that the dandelion can never physically match. You don't need to callous yourself to survive the pavement. You need to transplant yourself to the greenhouse. When you engineer your environment to respect your bandwidth, you don't just keep up with the world, you outperform it. So, here is my advice to you. Stop trying to compress your file size. You cannot rewire your neurology, and you shouldn't try. The world has enough shallow processing. We don't need you to be more numb. We need you to be fully tuned in. But you must steward your energy, enforce your limits, and respect your need for recovery. And the next time someone tells you that you are too intense, take a breath, smile to yourself, and remember the facts. You do not have a glitch. You are just processing the raw data of the universe. And in a world that is increasingly superficial, your capacity to feel deeply is not a weakness. Although, come to think of it, maybe it's the only thing that matters. You are the high-resolution lens, allowing humanity to see the colors it would otherwise forget existed. And because you have this sensitive receiver, you might have naturally developed a habit of staying on the sidelines. You might be the person who reads everything, watches everything, but never comments. To the algorithm, you look invisible. But psychology suggests that this lurking isn't fear. It might be evidence of a totally different type of intelligence. You aren't hiding in the shadows. You are a master strategist, observing the board before making a single decisive move.